Welcome to Women Talking Tech, the sassy, opinionated, always irreverent look at what's happening in tech and social media.
Welcome to Women Talking Tech, episode 34. We got some hot topics today, so let's get right in and do a quick roundtable. I'm Margaret Reynolds with iTech Global Design. Bonnie, my co-host.
Bonnie Stainsbury, Social Media Smarter.
Mary.
Yes, I'm Mary Kane with Blogsite Studio, and I'm helping people control their web presence one site at a time.
And
Stephanie.
Stephanie Michelle Scott of Wildfire Effect Media, and what we do is help you tell your story in digital spaces, be it social media, be it video, be it many other options.
Excellent. Okay. So, Bonnie, hot topic.
Hot topic, net neutrality. So this week in the U.S., a district court reversed the FCC rule about net neutrality. Net neutrality is, really simplified, your ISP has to be neutral in terms of traffic, who you are, what content you see. So in Canada here, and this is in the U.S., but if in Canada, if I'm Shaw is my ISP and TELUS is your ISP, we're going to see the same thing. We're going to see Netflix. We're going to see it at the same speed. Now, in the U.S., ISPs can throttle back traffic. They can block certain sites. So what they could do, and I'm not suggesting that they will, but there is the possibility that, for instance, if Hulu makes a deal with one of the large ISPs, pays them money, then they could either throttle back the speed of Netflix or any of their other competitors, or they could just block them. So, I mean, this is... it is
That
so
opens up a whole
dangerous.
can of worms, because it's like, okay, here with Shaw, it's like I'm on. I've been with him for many years, but I'm not on a contract. So if they started doing something like that, I could leave. So would that be wise for them to do? I mean, TELUS does tie their people into a contract. So if you're in a contract, your hands are going to be a lot more tied than if you're with somebody that you don't have a contract with. So I'm not sure how it works in the States. I'm guessing they probably have them all on contract, but yeah, it's like if Shaw decided, I don't like you watching Netflix, I would be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now it was Verizon that brought this lawsuit, and all of the ISPs do have to notify their customers that this is what they're doing, but they can go ahead and do it. So it's not like suddenly Netflix disappears, or I'm just using this as an example. MSN, Apple, just disappears. You can't receive it and get it anymore with your ISP. So I don't know. It is so huge. I don't understand all of the implications of it. All I understand is the really basics of it. And it opens a whole can of worms for other things to happen.
Well, yeah.
We know. I mean, we know that. I mean, they do that in China already. They block things and control the internet. But it's like, is that going to be happening on a country by country basis? I thought it was the World Wide Web. Maybe not.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I think it also brings up a really interesting point in the sense that we're actually in a society now where you can get around these things and do things. You can set up policies where example, our internet is being blocked, by saying, well, just notify everybody who's using it. But we're now in such information overload, then how are they going to notify us? In a letter, an email letter that no one is going to get, or their spam folders are going to basically block out. So it's getting to a point where people are not aware of things like this occurring, then no one's going to be able to fight it and saying, I'm sorry, this just isn't the future we want for our internet.
Yeah, they'll say, we told you about it. Like, where? I didn't see it.
Right, it's just like the 3-page contract you signed for your cell phone.
Yeah.
Who reads
well,
it?
And it's like the terms and conditions that we always click agree on. Do we read them?
No.
So, but it's major. I mean, we've been fighting for net neutrality all along, and that's a motherhood and apple pie kind of right that everybody assumes. So I don't know. What do you do? Do you start? You'd have to start shopping around.
We definitely people be reading the terms and conditions a lot more carefully.
Well,
or at all.
So what happens? Let's just take the example of Fox, the Fox network in the U.S. Now, it has a particular political point of view to the point of, to some of us, being ridiculous. But obviously, there's enough people that support their point of view. So now, are you going to have a Christian right ISP? Are you going to have, I don't know, if I was the Republicans or whatever in the U.S., I'd jump onto this big time because they want to control the information that you see. And so TV, I think most people with half a brain have an idea that TV is not neutral. That if you go to Fox, you're going to see a point of view. Even if there is a liberal, someone with a liberal point of view, they just plummet them to the point where, I don't know why they don't, shoot the rest of them. It's so frustrating. But there's obviously enough people that believe that. Tea Party people, whatever.
Yeah, it can only add to the dumbing down of people, because if some people are cut off from some information, you get more people that just, for instance, don't believe in climate change. Yeah. Because you know what? It doesn't show up on their computer. Yeah. And so if certain information is left out, the rest of us are thinking, oh, everybody knows that because it's on the internet. Well, if it's not on certain people's internet, then they're clueless, and you wonder why. So
right.
Yeah.
No,
I'm always frightened by how many people don't watch the news and don't know anything about what's going on in the world. Oh, it's too depressing. I don't want to know. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of important.
Yeah.
It is. And then you wonder what they're looking at on their computer all day.
Cat videos.
Not porn anymore, because that's way down from social media.
Well, as sad as it might seem, but maybe that is actually the key to fighting issues that are coming up along that lines, is actually bringing it down to the entertainment level. I think the more vast group of individuals that start talking about what their internet wants to be and what you actually will approve and what you don't, even making fun of companies that try and kind of loophole us into like this tiny little viewpoint, right. All of that stuff, that's the only way that I think it is actually going to get out there. So yeah, yay for the ones that are watching nothing but entertainment, not news stuff, but please talk about the important topics and those crazy comedy things.
Well, the most influential news network is actually Comedy Central through The Daily Show and Colbert.
Really?
Yes. People, mostly young Americans, they've shown they get their news from watching, comedy satire of the news, which is smart but funny at the same time, so it hits home more effectively than if they were just watching Fox News.
So in that case, maybe we shouldn't even worry about net neutrality, because they're already getting their news filtered.
Well,
their information.
Well, it's true, but I don't believe in choking the flow of information
Oh no,
through
neither do
any
I.
tubes.
But if you're Colbert and the other guy, I mean, they're pretty liberal thinking. So if you're a Tea Party person, you're not going to be getting your news from them, are you? I don't know.
Probably not. They've been exposed by now. For a while, Colbert was being followed by a lot of conservatives because people actually believed his shtick of being willfully ignorant. But now they know. So.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting.
You know,
Anyway, I think it's, the sky is falling, and I'm sure that the FCC will go at it a different way. It wasn't the idea of net neutrality that the court case was settled on. It was the fact that the word carriers, that they thought ISPs weren't carriers.
Common carriers.
Yeah, that they were thinking telephone companies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
I mean, is it a matter of just changing a few words and going at it again? I hope so.
Possibly. Yeah, it looks like they will appeal it. And they will.
Well, of course, lawyers make money off this stuff.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
And they could be rethinking this Telecommunications Act of 1996. So it's not over, but it's definitely something that should be watched.
Well, I was very, I thought it was a big deal. So actually I tweeted, I think either 2 or 3 times in the last couple of days with different points of view. And I was really surprised. I mean, I got okay engagement because I watched my Twitter numbers, and I got okay engagement, click-throughs, but not what I expected.
Funny that.
So I got 3 times as many click-throughs on a story about Google putting up a site to find cheap airfare. I got 3 times as many clicks as each of, not all 3, but each of the articles that I put out there about net neutrality.
Do you think that maybe it's just the fact that it's such a, I find generally when it comes to engagement, if the topic is extremely big and you have to think through it and you're not exactly sure how you can contribute to that conversation, you're less likely to actually engage with it. So maybe it's such a big topic that it's a lot easier to look for airfare places. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, I think also that maybe it's a little bit of the ostrich head in the sand as well.
There's that too. Well, I also track favorite. So favorite is like a bookmark on Twitter. Favorite is like a bookmark.
Yeah.
And so, and Stephanie, you're right. The people who want to come back to it, or I don't know why else you would favorite a tweet. Besides, you want to come back to it.
I often favorite if I'm out and I don't necessarily want to read it on my phone. I'll favorite it so I can look at it later when I'm on a bigger screen.
Okay, but it's like a bookmark. And again, those were okay numbers. I got no favorites for the Google is putting up a cheap airfare site. Yeah, it's very interesting. And you're absolutely right. If it's an article that requires some kind of thinking, then some number of people do.
Just leave it for later, and they never really get to the later.
Yeah, and then they never get back to it. So anyway,
that happens.
That's interesting. Yeah, I know. Tell me.
Okay, so why don't we move on to the best of CES 2014?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Let's look at some toys.
Yes.
Speaking of, head in the sand, let's lighten it up now. Okay.
What was your favorite?
I don't actually have, I didn't spend a lot of time looking except maybe the top 10 lists that they put out. So the curved screen, was it Samsung or was it Sony? I can't remember.
All of them.
Samsung, yeah, everybody's getting one, yeah.
But I actually was lucky enough to be in Las Vegas the week after CIS, and I was talking to some of the CIS guys that were out there talking about the products and getting a feel for how they loved the show, and the pure excitement of all of the new products that were out there. It seems to be there are a lot of people going into the like motion control, where you actually use gesture control to
like late motion.
Yeah. I don't know, what were your favorites?
My least favorite, the thing that just made me shake my head, and it made 2 or 3 top 10s, was the onesie for a child. You know those little things that you stuff in, you put your baby in.
Stuff a baby in?
So instead of the baby monitor being something that sits on the side, your baby is now connected. I mean, there's a little transmitter, this little, what was it, some kind of, it's a turtle. And it transmits your baby's vitals, all of this information to your smartphone.
I mean, talk about being plugged in. That's a little much.
So besides the idea of you're putting this technology on your child, I know that they've more or less debunked the idea that cell phones are going to fry your brain, but
our brains are fried anyway.
Yes, okay. But you're an adult. You can make decisions. You decide to put this thing on your child, and then the whole idea of I know it's a child. I know it's a baby that barely thinks, but this little person has no control. I mean, it's like a little robot. I looked at it and I thought, who would buy this for your child? It was just, I think it's evil. And there's not much that I think's evil when it comes to technology. But that was the thing that really, and the wearables.
Wearables. It'd be interesting to see where they're going to come to, but also too, the virtual reality, the augmented reality. It's like those are still. I mean, especially augmented is still just coming. But I think that's going to blow. That's going to change everything when it does. So I found it a little interesting. I mean, I'm not a gamer at all, but it's like one of them saying basically there isn't going to be a game console since your TVs can be connected. It's just all online. You don't even need a console anymore, which won't make the developers that happy that sell consoles. But hey,
right. There were quite a few cameras that were high-end cameras. From the reviews, and I'm certainly not an owner of a high-end camera. I do have a DSLR, but I'm not an expert. There were small, small advances, but in terms of photography, small advances are, sometimes huge. You're not going to make it a triangle or whatever. That technology's been there. In another article that had nothing to do with CES, it had to do with Google buying Nest. There was, it may have been GigaOM in their article, said basically mobile technology has pretty much come to the end of innovation. You're going to make small, it's going to be prettier, it's going to be whatever. But in terms of innovation, that technology is sort of where it's going to be. And I thought that was really interesting. That, and maybe that's why some of the companies in CES were going the way they seemed to. My reaction was it was sort of scattered. But then I might be missing something.
I haven't really seen one thing that it really kind of blew me away that I thought, oh my God, I have to have that. It's kind of like, kind of interesting.
I mean, they were talking about smart appliances. I just like my fridge not to every once in a while freeze everything up. I don't care if the damn thing tells me that I'm out of milk. I knew that when I put milk in my oatmeal this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
I knew
yeah, really
how much
we really
milk
need
I
our fridge
had.
checked. Especially, like, hey, I noticed you're by using the GPS, you're over at the store. Can you pick up?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean,
Unless you can,
isn't there some apps and stuff that can do that? You can basically set a reminder saying, "Hey, next time I'm over at the store, remind me to pick up eggs."
well,
And
yeah,
then it's like you're at the store and it texts you to go, "Hey, did you get eggs?" Although we tried testing that one day, and yeah, the reminder didn't come until we'd already left the area. So.
right. So,
Funny.
maybe in terms of the use of energy, I don't know how many. I live in a rental, so I have a really basic 1965 fridge. It doesn't make ice. It doesn't talk to me. It doesn't do whatever, and it seems to be okay. And the same with the stove. It cooks food. It's not fancy.
Some things don't need to be that technical, Just a good gas stove would be nice. Okay.
So there were some home things that were just that just went right over my head.
There's always they've been trying to bring technology into that, the home of the Jetsons and the kitchen of the future for eons, and not really much has changed in that area as far as technology goes.
So
I think the biggest thing technology's changed is how we get recipes because they're all online. But other than that, other than that, really hasn't changed.
In the world, because I was watching a video on. There's these two companies that have gone together, and I think it's about $15,000 worth of technology. So with your smartphone, you can raise and lower the blinds. You can turn on music. You can, set your coffee maker so it starts.
I think the smart thermostats are a cool idea. So you can adjust the heat and stuff, through your phone. I think that could be a money saving and environmentally friendly thing to do.
Okay, so that technology has been around since the 1990s.
I know a friend that uses that, and her husband doesn't have the password, so she'll be at work and decide, because he works at home, and she'll like, I think I'll turn up the heat. And he has to call her and go, come on, really?
Okay, mine didn't have, it did have a remote control. It wasn't on my smartphone, because there weren't smartphones then. Yeah. But I programmed this thing. I, read the instructions. Took me 2 hours to read the instructions, and I programmed it. And it started and stopped and did all of those kinds of things, and it did come with a remote control, so I could change things on the fly. But I tended basically to just set it, and in the winter it had one setting, in the summer it had another setting, and I just did that manually, and it worked very nicely.
Cool for monitoring for kids or the nanny cam and stuff like that. Those are a lot easier. You can view it on your phone and check and see whether your dog's on the couch or not. So I mean, some cool stuff, but is it really game changing? I don't know.
Yeah. So there were some basic smarts. There were some basic smarts in this thermostat. It said if you get to a certain temperature, do this and whatever. So I don't know what else a thermostat could do, but maybe that's because I haven't seen the smart thermostat.
What about self-driving cars?
Okay, I like this one. I know.
Hey, good idea.
But that's because now, when I was a car owner, when I had my own vehicle, I may have had a different point of view. But now I'm on transit, so my mobility is controlled by either another person, a bus driver, or technology when I'm on the train.
I don't know. Do we really need a car to?
Sorry.
Do we really need a car to park for us? If you can't park your own
car,
are
you kidding?
No.
If I had a car that parked itself, I'm happy.
That's actually pretty cool. I think the best use of a self-driving car would be on long trips. I mean, I've often I remember getting on I-5 and thinking, I wish I could just shut down myself and relax and just go and let the car drive. It's mostly a straight ahead drive. There's not much thinking to do, but then you're having to hold onto the wheel and be not relaxed. So a self-driving car in that case would be just a dream.
So Margaret, I just want to know.
A control freak for that.
I just want to know about the parking. What
Well, there are cars that will parallel park for you.
Oh no, I know that, but I just maybe I'm lazy. If I can push a button and it'll parallel park for me.
I don't know. Maybe I just have trust issues with that, but
Okay.
or it could just be too big a control freak. But I just think, yeah, I don't know. Some things just really aren't necessary. I think, okay, that having
Okay.
a rear view camera is a great idea.
Mhm.
That kind of
Oh,
technology,
yeah.
the GPS and all that. But yeah, I think you should be parking yourself.
Okay, necessary. You're right. Necessary. It's not.
Mhm. I think
But
those,
Because it makes people dumber and lazier.
yes, that's what I
You're
was
right.
thinking.
Good point.
There's bad enough drivers out there if they think, oh, I don't even need to know how to park. I mean, it's basic, I don't know, it's just, yeah.
I keep thinking with all of the technology innovations that are out there, like the self-driving car, like our coffee makers that think for us, and XXXX. Ever seen that? There's that movie, I think, Evolution or whatever, Revolution perhaps. It's the one where technology is shut down and then the entire world can't cope because we no longer have electricity to run all this stuff. So, I mean, but what's going to happen?
We're kind of partway there now,
because
we're pretty much dependent on electronics and their computers to do work, really, for a lot of us.
true.
There's some people that don't need them, but it's like, yeah, my world would be just shut down if I didn't.
And our drain on our power systems these days, what's going to happen, I don't know, 5 years down the line when everything relies on some sort of wireless system? Can we support it? It's interesting,
Maybe they'll make solar technology better. I don't know. You'll have a little solar panel in the back of your phone.
Well, exactly. Solar and wind and all that stuff has to shoot
Either
forward.
that or our clothes are going to all have, solar panels built in and we can just charge our phones on ourselves. I don't know.
I'm up for that one.
We're a CES on our portable electronic here. I want my electrical.
I don't know, but also too, then that brings the whole thing. It's like, we are an electrical system. Wearing an electrical system, it's like, I don't know. It's like we might short out. I have no idea. Anyway, moving along. New buffer analytics.
You know how much I love buffer.
Yes.
And how much I love analytics. So I've actually, they give you some like a weekish trial because it's part of Buffer for Business, which starts at about $25 a month and goes up to about $100 a month.
Does that include the reports, or are the reports hugely expensive like they are in Hootsuite?
No, they aren't. They're all included.
Okay,
And
well
the
that's a better deal.
reports-
Hootsuite is like, cool stuff, but it's like, you want me to pay how much for a report?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you effing kidding me?
No, this is Buffer, and it's done in their, very simple, sexy, it works style. And it right now, it's your, there isn't, oh no, there could be text reports. I just didn't look at them. Graphs. So you can graph everything. Your reach versus your tweets, your retweets versus links, how many link throughs. So it's very interesting. It does. I review this, but I have just been. I used to manually, transfer the information over and do graphs when I was growing my Twitter community. But now I have some idea of what I should be getting every day and how much each of the tweets. But taking a look at the graph, I had a dip for about 4 days that I couldn't. It was a significant dip, and I went back and I looked at what what I was tweeting about, and I had changed for whatever reason I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't using my regular formula.
Oh wow.
So anyway, is it worth $25 a month?
It's a kind of a pricey monthly.
Yeah, see, I was thinking I already pay for Buffer because Margaret and I use it for Women Talking Tech. So if you have more than
$10 a month seems reasonable. Was it 10 or 14? I don't remember.
Yeah, something like that. So that we both have access to it. I have a number of clients' Twitter's accounts that I control. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah. So $10 or $15. I don't know what that extra $10 is. It's not going to break me, but it.
Well, especially when you can kind of get the basic analytics anyway, so you have an idea of where you're going. I guess it really depends on what your clients want from you.
Yeah,
but
and
it's
can
optional.
copy and
There.
paste. You could copy and paste and create your own. Yeah, there may be a way in IFTTT. I might look at it. Okay, but Buffer.
Oh,
So Buffer. It has connections to Mention, and I've used that. I use that. It's not one of my favorite, but you can connect the two together. So I see Buffer as really, sort of being on the move, and they've been hiring quite a few people. So I've seen that. They've been tweeting about having different positions. So, and they blog more often. So I think they're moving to the next level, and I just I love it. It is just so simple. It works. It gives you the information. It does not get in your way, and because it's good, good code, a good application. Any like Flip, any curation or aggregation software has a link to Buffer. So that's the other thing. Am I a fanboy? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or what?
Anybody else?
Well,
I know Margaret uses it. Anybody else?
It's a good tool.
I use the free version sometimes. I don't know. Not enough.
Okay.
I integrate it with If This Then That so that I can plan out when I want my tweets to happen.
Oh, nice.
So as I do my read list, like I don't read every single day, but I'll take one really bulk day, go through a list on Feedly. If it's awesome, it buffers right away, but if I want to put it into a hold off for a day or two list, then I use If This Then That with Buffer, and it's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
That's good. Yeah, because now you can schedule them too for a specific time, and that's fairly new. So, because other than that, you had to put them into the Buffer, you put it into the pot, and then you moved them around or did what happened. So now I can say every Thursday at 11 a.m. tweet this.
Oh,
yeah.
I like Buffer. It's very, very simple interface to use, which I really, really like.
Yeah, very powerful.
Yep, it's very cool.
Okay, there we are.
We like that.
10 people.
Do we have a thumbs up system for Women Talking Tech? Thumbs up for Buffer app?
Yeah. Maybe they should sponsor us.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Buffer. Okay, what do we want to talk about next?
Nest. Googlebot Nest. So we were talking about thermostats earlier, and on the surface, that's what Nest is. $300 smart thermostat.
Wow.
So, yeah. So why would Google buy a thermostat company?
Yeah, that is weird.
There was one joke, and I'm not gonna do it justice, but it was a tweet. I think now you'll be able to see Google ads when you need a new furnace or whatever. Or when it may have been air conditioner. You'll see air conditioner now. Google will tell you the air conditioner ads. And I think they also.
So is it kind of like as we've often joked about, Google will eventually change its name to Skynet. So now they're infiltrating your home. Is that getting closer?
Well, there's some people that are saying, and Google has said that Nest will continue. It's not going to be integrated into the, it's not going to change. It's going to work as a individual company.
Will they figure out how?
Well, but the two principals of Nest are ex-Apple employees.
Mm.
Very powerful Apple employees. One of them, I'm not good at names, but one of the fellows was the like Mr. iPod. So a big deal. This guy understands innovation. He understands innovation from a people point of view, and Google doesn't have that, or doesn't have that in spades. And the other fellow, also from Apple, is a marketer with that same point of view. So Google executive, Sergey, it might have been, has said in the last month that the big mistake Google made was they didn't understand social, and they didn't get in soon enough. Now, Google Plus is now a major player, but maybe their understanding of being an engineering run business, and certainly I worked with engineers my whole life, and they're brilliant, and the world would come to an end without engineers. But in terms of social, in terms of being human, there more and more of them are, but truly, they're engineers.
It's not their natural style.
Right. So
love engineers. Seriously, love engineers. Yeah, it's like it's a different personality style, and they have their skills.
Yeah. So and there also may be technology there that we don't know anything about. That's been speculated. Obviously, I mean, they paid more money for that company than their next 5 like Apple and Microsoft and whoever. So they paid more for that company than those other guys paid for all of their acquisitions in the last year. So Google has huge rooms of money, but still, that was a lot of money to spend. So it'd be interesting. And then the robotics, they spent a lot of money on a robotics company.
Do you think they're just getting smart about understanding where their strength is? And they've always been a really, really good company for making physical things that we touch and we see and we use in our environments, instead of going for they do some really good web stuff too, for sure. I'm a big Google fangirl as well, but where they've always been in power is the tech, the holdable, the actual physical, tangible tech.
Right. But okay, so some of these articles that said, again, it goes back to tech. It's not people-centric. And again, that one of those articles that I spoke about earlier, which said that mobile technology, tablets and smartphones, the innovation is sort of where we are until somebody does something about power, being able, battery or something. But that really isn't the kind of innovation that when we go from that cell phone that used to be a brick and we talked on. I mean, that was a phone. Right. Now, my smartphone isn't a phone. I got a telephone call yesterday on the bus on the way down, and I didn't even know how to answer it because the interface had changed. And so now my phone says,
Mommy's like, what's that noise?
I know. Well, first of all, it was, what the hell is that noise? And then, oh shit, it's me. And I dug it out of my purse, and I looked, and now when you push the little phone button, it says, I can't talk now, call me later, all of this, and apparently I can push all of these things so that I don't even have to talk to people. All I can say is, call me later, I'm busy. And it's there, and then I can just hang up on them. I can put them to voicemail, and I'm going through all of this, and then on the bottom there's a little green phone, and that means I can talk to the person. And by the time I read all of that, he gave up, so I had to call him back. So
Yes.
Yeah. When was the last time I actually had, talked on my phone? Obviously,
I know.
a
I see.
while ago.
I spend quite a bit of time talking on the phone now.
Do you?
Doing.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Doing for the website sales. It's
Right,
a
but
lot more
okay.
effective to talk to people. So yeah. There's a lot of voice action going on lately. So that's
Oh,
I think
okay.
really cool.
How about the rest of you? Do you telephone?
I still have a landline. I don't know about you guys.
Oh no, I do too.
Okay.
Yeah, for voicemail.
I do not talk a lot on the phone. I do a lot of texting and emailing, and I go on Facebook and send people messages through that. And yeah, actual phone talking is about maybe 5 or 10%.
Okay.
Yeah, minimal.
Yeah, I actually have on my voicemail. It says if you would like to reach me quickly, text me.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's much more efficient for me.
Mm-hmm.
I find phone for me is, what has it gone into? It's actually gone into, I guess, screening. So if I'm, is this client going to be the right fit for me? Let's talk for 15 minutes on the phone and see if we've got the right, if we're the right fit for each other. And then, it's like, okay, we'll meet in a day or something to talk in person. But yeah, chatting, not so much.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I never was someone who talked on the phone for an hour at a time, but sometimes when my mother called me, but I wasn't talking. I was listening.
Okay.
I'm not doing that now.
So, was there any other topics?
Steph, we're talking about acquisitions, and Stephanie brought up some acquisitions by Facebook that I wasn't aware of.
Well, see, the thing that's interesting is that I've been looking at many different articles in the last maybe couple of weeks, and every single week it seems there's a new article about Facebook acquiring another company, and it seems like they're all pushing towards mobile devices. So they actually released an article that talked about their 2014 assembly of mobile apps that they're planning on going towards, like little things that I know we've all been using already, things like your newsletters, so you can actually do your customized newsletters. And they acquired, remember Vidi, that video app?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Turned into something called Supernova. Well, they acquired that one maybe about a week or two ago. They seem to be pushing a lot of their communication strategies onto mobile devices and really, really pushing their efforts in that zone. Even if anyone has the Facebook mobile app, have you seen all of the updates they've been doing to it? There's constantly a upgrade to this, or we fixed something, or try this.
Okay.
So,
I use the basics just because I do. Maybe it's just laziness.
Well, I think it's interesting. Well, the very fact that they went into 4 different mobile devices for video and photography in the last little while is making me wonder if perhaps we're actually going to see a lot more of this FaceTime kind of stuff in the mobile world. It's really, they haven't mentioned it yet necessarily, but I'm curious to see what direction Facebook is taking Facebook.
That's interesting. Messaging. Apparently, a lot of people use Facebook messaging.
Oh, exactly, the Messenger.
I do, because it's easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I usually have Facebook up anyway on my desktop, and in fact, today I sent you a link. Sent you all a link with Facebook Messenger. And certainly there are better messaging systems out there. And the other thing is sometimes I'll use it when I just want a placeholder of a conversation and I don't know where else to put it, because I can go back in history and go, oh, okay, that's, Margaret and I talked about this, here's the link. And it's in context, because I probably bookmarked it, but it was sitting, it wasn't in context, but the link would be in context of our conversation.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what its power is.
Yeah, I always find interesting the way that different types of technologies, as they grow, where they're taking things. I mean, if Google is going into more of our tangibles, Facebook is really putting a lot of money and effort right now in developing their mobile. So if the article that you said that mobile is kind of at its limit for innovation, then what is that going to mean for a company that has more viewers and more individuals using their system than any other social system out there?
Well,
I don't
think the adoption of mobile, I mean, more and more people are going to be using mobile technology. But the article said that your smartphone isn't going to get any smarter. It's not going to make coffee for you. And, you know, it may have a curved screen, you know, it may be pink, it may be whatever. So it's going to look like there's something new, but in fact, there isn't. And this particular author thought that the curved screen doesn't serve any particular purpose. It's sort of like 3D, and he may have even made that example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 3D, it didn't catch on because it doesn't make your life any better. It doesn't make it easier. It's just like buying a chartreuse sweater because it's
pretty.
Yeah. But it isn't going to make you any warmer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So can we talk about, this is a complete 90 degree, 180, whatever, in Saanich, which is a bedroom community of Victoria, BC. There's a 16-year-old who was convicted of child pornography this week.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to her sending 3,000.
Yikes.
Yes, this was not a
3,000 what?
Pictures of her boyfriend's
boyfriend's ex-girlfriend naked.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
on Facebook or
no, it was through phone. So
text.
Texted them, I think.
But I mean, once it's out there, people can put it anywhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So she was jealous of the ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know any more than that. I don't have to. It's a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was 3,000. This is not just one or two things she sent to her girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And so a number of months ago, she was charged with child pornography.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I thought, oh, that's cyberbullying. But anyway, turns out it's child pornography.
Well, it's really both.
Well, yeah, it's both, yeah.
So
she deserves it.
Well, I agree.
Yeah, she deserved to be charged, yeah.
And
I think it's a good precedent to set.
I'm hoping every cutie 16-year-old who thinks about revenge porn, now it's got a name, and thinks twice.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a video.
Well, it seems so often with the youth these days, they're not taken into account. They're accountable for their actions.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good example of somebody being held accountable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting enough. I know when I was sitting on the couch at Christmas time looking at television, which I absolutely don't do in my real life, there were so many commercials, basically public service announcement style commercials talking directly to the youth and saying, look, what you do on your mobile phone has consequences. And sometimes those consequences are legal action consequences. Maybe 3 different commercials I saw go across about that.
Really? That's the first I'd heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, were there any teenagers around?
No, here's the thing that's a very interesting aspect of it. No, there was a teenager in the house and he was on YouTube doing his video games the entire time I was there. All of his access to information was coming through YouTube. That interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was getting the message. I really don't.
Yeah, they can put the ads there. That doesn't mean they're watching it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing that I found the most disturbing, I mean, I don't condone what she did, but she's 16, and I would hope that I or anyone I had influence on would never even think to do anything like that. But I did some pretty stupid things when I was 16.
Mhm.
The difference was there was a video, a news video of the mother of the girl who had been convicted. And she said, there's more than one victim here.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter has changed, and it's cost our family so much money to defend this, and on and on and on. And it was all outward thinking. She wasn't taking any responsibility. Now, I thought about what would I do if this was my daughter, but she didn't take any responsibility at all for it. I didn't expect her to be, thrown in jail for being a bad mother, but I expected a different result. She was very callous.
Well, see, that's where it's all coming from, though. It's like generational.
Right, like mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
Well,
so if your parents aren't going to hold you accountable, where do you learn accountability from?
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
It could just be that the mother was under amazing stress and not used to talking to the cameras.
And a magnifying glass.
Sorry?
And a magnifying glass. Maybe we were only seeing the areas of the conversation that was most interesting to be newsworthy.
You're right.
Well,
it could have been edited.
Yeah,
There is no news neutrality.
edited heavily.
Right. So,
But unlike our show, which is never edited and is just as is, I don't know. I can't always say we're neutral. We're always opinionated, but at least we're honest about it.
Yeah, we're not edited because, we do know how.
Yeah.
We just don't. So
we do know how, but it's like we're just being real.
Right. So we don't have time today, but this whole conversation and some of the other parts of the conversation that we had today lead up to a video by Dr. I think her name is Hellman, and she's talking about the sexual objectification of women. And it's about 15 minutes long. It's a TED Talk. And very, very interesting. So she's a professor at Occidental University. She's done an awful lot of research into power, not just women, power for women, but she's talking about how women react to sexual objectification. And she has research that says the decision whether or not to go forward in education, to go to graduate school, is to a certain extent affected by our self-esteem, that's affected by society's sexual objectification of women. Really interesting. She's not some, crazy feminist, whatever, just ranting. It's very, very well done. And I would hope maybe next time we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that next week. And also next week, we will be talking about augmented reality.
We will indeed, because we know somebody who's doing some research on augmented reality.
We're going to be doing some big research this weekend and learning a ton, and we'll have some awesome stuff to talk about. But I think for today,
we're done.
That's a wrap. Awesome show, ladies. Thank you so much, and hope you can all join us next week for Women Talking Tech, episode 35.
Yay! All right. Yay!
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.